similar reasoning. I know we don't necessarily truly need it, because if I got one of these, I got one of them. So like writing 1x in algebra. But too bad for us, they did it. They want to keep the idea of pairs. The one place that they were okay with not doing it would be, like if I want to write 18, I'd have like 110, you can do it, Jeff, 110 and an 8, right? So that's 18. Or they could write a 10 and an 8. Either way was fine. That was the one place where they said, maybe we don't need a 1 here. It's kind of understood to be in the teens. We could just have a 10 and an 8, we're fine.
So now, like on a test, if I see this problem, and can I put 1 and then put the multiplication symbol in there, 1 times 100 plus 4 times 10?
Hell yeah. Anyway, if you want to write this like 1 times 100, 4 times 10, I love it. Twos, just 2, I love it. Any way that you can work it out and it makes sense. Yeah.
The one on the top of the 100 is like how many hundreds we needed, right?
Yes.
Cool. Yeah, that's the way that I feel.
In general, if I were you, I would just do it everywhere. The one place that they didn't do it, that they accepted that it was understood, was in the teens. 18 could be this or it could be this. So like the Babylonians had the minus symbol, or you didn't have to use it if you didn't want to.
Yeah.
They said you could use it here or not if you wanted to in the teens. Okay.
Anyone get arrested next?
So wait. So it's 1 times 10 plus the 8 symbol is 18.
I love
Okay.
it. Yep.
Right.
So 110 and an 8 makes 18. The thing I really like about this, if you notice, like I said earlier, every civilization, even though they have a different basic operation behind their system, they're all somehow related to 10. So it kind of gives credence to the idea that we have 10 fingers, all of us, so that's why we kind of base it on 10. Some civilizations have 20, that's because we have 10 fingers and 10 toes, right? They based it on 20 because you can keep counting on your toes. All right, and I'm not going to talk about, for some reason I just don't include the Greeks, but they're on there if you want to look at them. Page 187. So let's do this. I want to go back to the Romans for a second, because we did do those sort of quickly. I think the Egyptians, I can't describe that any better. I think you either get it or you don't. The Egyptians are very straightforward. Write the number of symbols you need, right? The Romans are definitely a little freakier. So when you're given a problem, like, I don't know, yeah, sure. And I do this on that paper that I gave you last time. I try to give you a way to attack a problem. You find the pairs where the first thing is smaller than the second thing. Everything else you don't care about. Everything else is addition. The only thing that's different from addition is the pairs where the first one's smaller. Now, where is that happening here?
The last
And the
one.
C and M.
Yeah, okay, so the I
Four.
before the V,
The C
Four.
and M.
and the C before the M. Everything else is addition, so that's 1,000.
900.
1,000 minus 100.
900.
Is that before that means subtraction? That's 900. No, Jeff. There you go. L is 50. X is 10. And like Millie said, that's 5 minus 1. And we know that's 4. We can actually look at it. And you guys probably read that as 4, don't you?
Yeah.
Think about it. When I write that down, you read 4. You don't read I, V, 5 minus 1 is 4. You read 4. So if you were brought up as a Roman, educated, you would read this. In fact, that came up in a class a while back, and I still haven't found out. How do they actually pronounce it? Do they actually go there, MCM? I really don't know how back in the day they actually said this to each other. So what year were you born, Jefficus? Well, I was born MCM. Would I actually say it? Well, I have no idea. I truly don't know. I still need to research that. So this would be 1964, right? Thankfully, I was not born in 1964. I was not even thought about yet. So, the next thing here is the one symbol I didn't talk about, I don't think, is how they kind of make larger numbers. And this is why I'm very careful not to write. You always see them written like this. That's misleading, because the symbol for making something 1,000 times bigger is a line over the top. So if you see this,
5,000.
that means 5,000. So you see Roman numerals written like that and people mean 4, when actually I can look at that and think that they mean 4,000. I don't know why they put a floor on it too, but that ceiling tells me that should be multiplied by 1,000. So now if I wanted to write, for example, if I wanted to write 14,283. So how many thousands do I have?
14.
So I can break this down. I got 14 thousands plus 200s. How am I going to make 80?
That's a 50 plus a
50 plus a 30, right? Because I can have 3 10s in a row, that's fine. So 50 plus 30 is my 80 plus 3. So to me, if I'm doing this work, one thing I could do for myself is try to expand that number out. Knowing the Roman numerals and what I'm allowed to use here, I try to expand that number out. So to write 14,000, how would I write 14 by itself? How do you write 14?
10 plus IV.
Good. That's 10 plus 4, right? 14. And I want 14,000.
That's the line.
Pop.
The line.
Don't put a comma, no commas.
So the line is the line is
14,000. The line means multiply by 1,000. So it's interesting, coming on the heels of what we just talked about with the Chinese, the Romans sort of took an additive system and built in a little bit of a multiplicative piece. So the Roman system is basically additive, but they've really tweaked it a lot, right? They tweaked the hell out of it just because, I guess, while there was no wars going on, they didn't have much to do. This is why I don't teach history. How do you write 200? Careful now, that'd be 2,000. CC, see?
See?
80, so that'd be 50 and a 30. What's 50?
LX. You need LX.
And then 30 would be
X.
3 x's.
Yeah.
And then 3.
1, 2, the stick.
The thing to be careful about is, for example, I cannot write the number 7 as IIIX. I keep saying the special thing. It can only be pairs. You can only have one thing in front of one thing. Yeah, 7 would be VII, of course, right? So you can't subtract several things from something. It's only a pair. They wanted to make it very consistent, their rules. Any other questions about this guy here? Is this right?
So it's 14,000 and the C's are 100?
C's are 100,
So
good.
it's 200.
200. 50 and 30 is my 80.
Oh, okay.
3. Coolness.
So
So what's the
X's are
where's the cutoff between when I need that bar and when I don't?
is 50.
Yeah,
It's not 1,000.
14 points.
I can write the number 3,000 something not using the bar, can't I?
Yeah, 10,000.
So if I need to write 3,919, yeah. Good. So I need 3,000. How am I going to make 900?
C.
9,000 minus 100.
1,000 minus 100. Good. Because I can't possibly use 9 in a row, and I would need like a 500 and a 400. I can't have 4 C's in a row. I can't have 4 symbols in a row. At most you can have 3. So that's why 3,000 is okay. I can have 3 M's in a row. 1,000 minus 100, right? How do I write 19?
10.
10,
10 and
1. No.
9.
9.
Nine.
9 is just 10 minus 1.
10 minus 1.
Coolness. Right? So anything like 90 would be 100 minus 10. 900 is 1,000 minus 100. So those 9s are pretty easy to take care of. And the 8, you just come from the other way. You make 80 is 50 plus 3 10s, like we just did there. Right? So how do I write this? 3,000 would be...
CD.
C.
D.
No,
sorry, CM.
No,
Sorry.
CM.
M,
Sorry.
Come on.
I was like,
And then
X.
10,
X.
and then 10 minus 1.
IX.
So there's your 10, there's your subtraction there, there's your subtraction there. So when you're going from our Hindu Arabic to Romans, you can kind of identify that you got the pairs correctly, right? Because that's where you kind of start if you're going the other way. You find those pairs. Okay, cool. So this is math. It's not terribly difficult math, but it's math that's why I call this class fall through the cracks math. This is math you could have done earlier, there just wasn't time to do it. So it's really good to kind of see this kind of math. You all are exposed to some Roman numerals, but not all of them.
So,
Right.
is there a rule where you can't do XXX with the line over it?
No. Let me see.
To
How
do
about,
1,000,
where's a good example of that?
6,000,
How would I write
or
300,000? How do you think I could write 300,000?
3, sorry.
Isn't M,
Careful.
It's XXX.
No.
is
How do we write 300?
And then the line.
Three,
M's are 1,000. 300 would be
three,
CCC.
Oh, sorry, CC.
was a line over it?
Oh, line
That's-
over it.
That's 300,000, right? The bar makes 1,000. So when you have a big number to worry about, take 1,000 out of your way and then see what's there. So when I had 14,000, blah, 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 how do I make 14,000? Well, 14 with the bar in it. Now I can focus on making 14. 300 with a bar, now I can focus on making 300.
M.
No, I don't. Why do I not need an M? I understand what you're doing, but that's more like as if it was a multiplicative system. I've already got 300,000. It's not. If I wanted it to be 301,000, then I could put an M after it. That would be an extra 1,000 in there, wouldn't it? So CCC bar M, that would be 300,000 plus 1,000. So that would be 301,000, right? So be real careful. I see that a lot. I see that M acting like a multiplier. That bar is the only thing that would act like a multiplier for the Romans, right? Okay.
Okay, so back to that. I screwed up. It would be the number 3 I, or the line with the line over the top. Could you do that with the 3,919?
No.
Instead of the do the lines and then the bar over the top?
No. If you can write it without using the bar, you do. It's basically if you can write it with fewer characters or without using the bar, that's a rule. You do it the simplest way. My purpose, that's good. My purpose for this was, that's right, 4,019, how would you do that?
oh, in Roman?
Can you use MMMM?
No.
That's
you
4 in
can
a
use
row,
over
I'm not allowed to
M,
do
no.
that.
Ivy,
I love it, IB with,
a line across.
I love it, so there's 4,000. That's the dividing line then. 3,000 and below I can do without the bar. 4,000 and above I've got to use the bar, right? Because the largest I can go is 3,000 without using that line on the top. So that'd be 4,000,
I with 2 X's.
X,
Yeah.
IX,
10, and 9.
IX,
That's 10 plus 9 is 19.
Oh,
So 4,000,
I.
19.
How do they
but you can't flip it.
How do you mean?
It would be wrong if you put the 1 in front of the first X. Huh?
Definitely, yeah.
Because that will be another number.
Because you do kind of want to go in the order that it's meant to be in, right? That 10 is before the 9. 10 plus 9.
Minus 9. I mean, plus 9.
So they do sort of have an order to them. So they've definitely taken the idea of an additive system where the Egyptians can just put their symbols all over the damn place. As long as you know it's one number, you just have to put them all back together. The Romans said, that's a little crazy. You know, Romans, I think you know, were a little bit more organized, maybe to an extreme. And they said, no, our number system should be organized. We've got definite rules here. It's got to come in order, so forth. And if it's out of order, that's a rule. That means you subtract there. That's why they do it out of order there.
Okay.
Did they actually have a number for, or a letter for 5,000? Did they have a letter for 5,000?
Geez, it's been a while since I looked. I think
It
so,
would
but
be five. It
Because
would
it
be
would
the
make
V,
sense with a
V
5,000.
and the.
it would be V with a
And
line.
the
They
line,
might have had
yeah.
a symbol on its own. It sounds familiar.
Yes,
Well, because they
But I haven't
go,
looked it
they
up.
go
With the
from
line.
hundreds to 500s, so you figure from 500 to 1,000, 1,000 to 5, to another,
Yep.
to 5,000.
But part of what this is for, I don't want to give you, and obviously I haven't even looked it up in a while, so I don't have the answer to give you. Well, that's part of what this should be. It should be, I'm hoping some of you guys are interested in some little piece of this, and maybe we'll follow it up and look it up. Ryan says, no, Jeff. If you're not, great, you still pass the class. But I'm trying to get you guys kind of curious about something.
I'm very interested in.
Cool.
I like,
No,
Look it up, tell me.
I like puzzles, so it's.
If you guys, if somebody could find out how they were pronounced, how Roman numerals were actually pronounced in their time, I would give you some extra credit. Hell yeah. Right? Oh, hell yeah.
I'm going to Rome.
Right? I'm very interested in that kind of thing.
You have to write it like you want us to do, right?
I mean, because the whole thing with mixing the math and the English is because, isn't this exactly like different languages? I mean, we
Yeah.
have different words that represent the same idea. That is a chair.